Hi, Eric Gibaud, ericgibaud.com, and today I ask you a question. What gear do you think will appear in 2023? What gear will appear, or you would like to appear, or you would like to exist, or you feel it really needs to exist? So I'm going to answer this question. I invite you to do the same thing in comments. So let's start. So guys, makers, photo gear makers, there is a lot to do, okay? Obviously, I realize that if it's not already planned, it will not come out in 2023, because when a camera or lens comes out, they've been working on it for many years, sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Okay, so if it doesn't come out in 2023, it was not just planned. It's just not just because someone says something. But still, I think it's really important that brands speak to ambassadors, to users, maybe YouTubers. Although I think first users, well, I'm first a user and then a YouTuber, okay, and have their opinion of what they think that could be good or useful or the market needs, okay. And actually, like a month or something like ago, or something like this, K&F Concept, that represent many of their accessories, they contacted me, and we were on a video conference for about an hour. And they asked me many questions, and what I think could be good and things like this. I explained, for example, a video tripod would be fantastic, okay? And because they don't have a really dedicated video tripod, so I hope they will develop it. Okay, I think they will, but I cannot say much more. But I think this kind of feedback from users is really important. So I'm going to tell my small list of my wishes, or what I think will come out this year. Okay, let's start with Canon. Well, when they issued the R7 and R10, I made a video here saying it was a master idea, okay, to really get on APS-C with their mirrorless R system. But many people are disappointed by the R7. That was a really promising camera, but then it's not up to the level they were expecting. You cannot put a vertical grip on it, and many people who shoot vertical want it. You cannot have that. So they were expecting like the successor of the 7D. And no, there is no, it's not the son of the 7D, and there is no such thing as the 7D in Canon mirrorless if you want APS-C. So I think they really need to get a R7 Mark II or whatever they want to call it, but they need to get this 7D in a mirrorless version. Second, I don't know what you're doing, Canon, with the RF mount. You do not allow third-party companies to make autofocus lenses for the RF mount. I think this is a big massive mistake. Many people cannot afford to have RF Canon lenses, so they would buy a Sigma, a Tamron or similar, and start using your mirrorless system. This way they can only use manual lenses with that have on RF mount, but you do not accept any autofocus or any communication system with the lens. So this is a big problem. I think this is a massive mistake. You're closing doors. And many people that don't want to use a reflex lens with an adapter on your camera, they really want to have a genuine RF mount lens, although it is a third party. So I think this is a big mistake. Mr. Nikon, or Nikon, name you want, okay? There's a big problem with your line, okay? Z line, okay? The Z50 or Z50 is not a son of the D500. And you have the same problem as Canon with the 7D. You have no successor for the D500. And many people want that camera in a mirrorless version. And you let us down with your lens line. When I presented the Z50, you were going to get some lenses in APS-C mount, in Z mount, but in APS-C format, and we're still on the same point. I think you have 3 or 4 lenses, and this is ridiculous. You cannot expect people to buy a Z50 or Z50 and then have no lenses unless they get the Z full frame lenses, but then they have no stabilization because you made a big mess there. If it's APS-C, the stabilization has to be in the lens, and if it's full frame, then it's in the body and not in the lenses. So this is a big mix-up. So you must fix that. First, get a successor for the D500. Many people who make animal photography or wildlife, concert, they want to have an APS-C format, so their lenses reach further, okay, because of the crop factor. And second, put IBIS on both systems, whether it's an APS-C format or full frame format. Put the IBIS in the body, okay, not the stabilization in the body, the IBIS, okay. Forget about these lenses that are just crazy, okay, and creates a real line of APS-C lenses, please. So, Mr. Fujifilm, I've got some work for you, okay? So, fantastic, the XH2, XH2S, fantastic. But then you come up with the XT5, which is fantastic. It looks great, okay? But, one question, why not any grip? Yeah, there are many professionals that use the XT line and they want the vertical grip, and many amateurs also want a vertical grip. Why isn't it possible? So I think two things. First, get a grip on that. Second, I think you need an XT5S. Why? Because not everyone needs 40 million pixels. In some situation, it's more an inconvenience than something in favor, okay? So I think you need XT5S with 26 million pixels. I think you need that because the market wants this. Not everyone wants 40 million pixels. In some situation, this is really problematic, okay? So please get an XT5S, okay? Second, the XS10. Well, there's a big mess. I actually made a video about this. Fujifilm has a big mess in their line of cameras. Some are stabilized, some are sealed, weather sealed, but sometimes you cannot get both. So if you want the XS10 because you like the shape, the size, the wheel, everything, you love it, yeah, but it's not weather sealed. So you get IBIS, but you don't get weather sealing. For that, at that time I made a video about it, you had to go to the XT4. So no, you need to get an XS10 Mark II or maybe a higher range XS1 with this format, this the way you place the wheel, all this, but that is the full shot, stabilized and weather sealed. You need that, okay? And because otherwise you're just pushing people towards the XH line. Instead of XT, when many people wanted it, you created an XS10, which is fantastic, but then you need weather sealing. So you need more IBIS on more bodies, and you need weather sealing on most bodies. I think this is really important. Now let's look at the GFX line of camera. Well, first I would like a super tele lens, because many landscape photographers are giving up on the GFX line because they want to go and grab something that is a bit far. On Canon, very often they use the 100 to 400 millimeter lens, and on Nikon also, and on APS-C Fujifilm also they use a really long telelens, but you fall short. I think you need a longer lens for your GFX line. Speaking about lenses, if you really want to grab market from Hasselblad user, I think it's important to get a line of leaf shutter lenses. You would deactivate the shutter in the body, okay, and the lens shutter would overtake the body, okay. So this way, I don't mean you need to be able to have really high speed, but it's important that you can synchronize flash at every speed, the same as Hasselblad is doing, because 125th of a second is too low. I know you have HSS, but you know perfectly that's not the same thing to use HSS than to synchronize at a higher speed, okay? So I think you need to create this line. You don't have to change the bodies, maybe just by firmware that deactivate the plane shutter on the body and the central shutter on the leaf shutter on the lens would take over, okay? So this is really important, okay? So let's speak about something else, the GFX 50R. What's going on? This camera is wonderful. You need to upgrade it to Mark II and get the stabilization you get on the 50S2 and get all the bells and whistles of the 50S2 into a 50R2. That's a lot of work, okay? Now, whoa, my friend OM system, you have work to do. Really a lot of work to do. Okay, many Olympus OMD EM10 Mark IV are begging for a successor. So we need an OM10 this year, okay? Please, the new menus, the same as the OM1, and USB-C connector, not micro USB. Really important, okay? Fix that. Okay, get this, fix that now. Get this camera out. People want it. Second, the OM5. Well, fantastic camera. I loved it. But you missed out on two really important things. You have only one opportunity to make a first good impression. And on the OM5 line, you messed up because you didn't put the new menus with the old Olympus menus that are a real nightmare. And also you put a USB, micro USB, not a USB-C. So you need to get on OM5 S or Mark II, or whatever you want to call it, urgently and fix that. New menus and USB-C. Maybe menus can be changed by firmware, but physically the USB-C is not changeable. Okay, so by firmware you need to bring the camera and change the camera. So you need to get a new. You need to rectify this. Okay, this is really important. Then many people have been begging for the K&F Mark II for many years when Olympus stopped making it. Still people love this camera. I think you have a market there. I think a K&F Mark II is necessary. Okay, then user of 1X also want a successor because they love this dual processor, really fast camera. They want a successor for that camera. So this is also necessary. Okay, that's a lot of work. I know you're tight on budget, but I don't know what you want to do. Okay, then let's pick up one lens. I've got the 7 to 14 mm 2.8 and the 8 to 25 mm f4. At the end, I use more the 8 to 25 because it has a filter thread. Using a filter adapter on the 7-14 is a nightmare. It's not practical. All this, it disadjusts and then it vignettes. That's a problem. Okay, so honestly, I think forget about the 7 to 14 mm 2.8. Don't even make it anymore. Create an 8 to 14 mm 2.8 with a filter thread. This millimeter less. Actually, yeah, it's a bit more narrow, but not that much. But anyway, we had to crop to avoid vignetting when we use filter adapters anyway. So make an 8 to 14 mm 2.8, and that would be a fantastic lens with a filter thread. Okay, Panasonic. Many people have been begging for a G9 Mark II for a long time. The G9 is a fantastic camera. So what would I put in there? Well, a new sensor, so you have phase detection. Same as you've done on the S5 Mark II, now you must put phase detection on every camera you will bring out. You should update the GH6 also and get a phase detection in there because many people want this phase detection. Many people are not buying Panasonic and Lumix because you don't have that. Okay, so you must put that everywhere. Let's speak about your Lumix FZ300. This is a fantastic little camera, really affordable, nice bridge camera, but it's really old now. So your competitors like Nikon on the P1000, P950 offering new features. I don't speak about the long zoom. I don't need such a long zoom. The zoom you have on the FZ300 is fine, but you should better like low light photography, all this. So I think it's time to get an FZ400 out, or 350, call it as you want, okay, but it's time to get it out. Okay, Sony. So it's hard to tell Sony to make something new because they always come up with new things, but still I think the A7C is a great camera with a form factor of the A6000 series, which is nice, with a full frame sensor. And I think it needs a Mark II to have to implement new things that you've brought on other more recent models. I think it's time to update this A7C. Okay, Pentax. Well, Pentax, if it's hard to find Pentax anywhere, okay, where I am you cannot find Pentax, but still I know there are many Pentax users. And if I speak about the K1, yeah, I think there are new things, new technology that could be in there. I don't speak about mirrorless because Pentax said they would not do more mirrorless. They had some and they stopped. Okay, so I can't remember the name it had. Okay, but they said last year that definitely they will keep to reflex camera. That's fine for me, but create a K1 Mark II with more recent technology. I think Hasselblad. Well, Hasselblad, you make great cameras, but you just don't finish them. it's time to work on finishing your cameras. And this is firmware side, okay? This is incredible that you have the X2D no face detection when you comes out. This is incredible. You need to implement that people can walk in front of your camera and have the face and eye detected, okay? Then the histogram is not implemented, and then many things like this. This is ridiculous. And I don't speak just about the X2D, the X1D Mark II, and the 907X that I have. There are things that could be really fixed, easily fixed on with the firmware, which is I have to choose if I want my grids for composition or to have my level, if it's horizontal or vertical. No, I want both. How can I not have my highlight warning before shooting or my histogram before shooting? Any mirrorless camera, including the cheapest one, give you this information beforehand, before triggering the camera. So I need this to work, so you must work seriously on your firmware. And better all this, and the display is incredible that I cannot display my highlight warning before shooting. This is incredible, okay? Then also the same as JFX by Fujifilm, create a longer tele lens. Some people need that, okay? Doesn't matter the price. I will probably not buy it anyway, but I think some people will, okay? So you need to create that. Let's speak about Leica. Well, Leica, I don't know which one to speak about, but the one that comes to my mind is the one I tested, which is the Q2 monochrome, that Q2 also color. And I love that camera, but I think 28mm is too wide for me. I prefer 35mm. I know that you have a digital crop that works really well, but still, I would like to have a 35mm version, or even better, a dual focal length. That works. I mean, Leica for M mount has some triple focal length. It's not a zoom, you just set the focal length you want. So I think on this one you could create a 28 and 50mm or 35 and 75mm. I know it will be a bit bigger, but that would be a great idea, I think, okay? So I think I will work on the Q2 or a 35mm version or a dual range focal length, okay? That probably more brand I forgot, okay, forgive me. So now I'm going to tell you more about general things for every brand, okay? Most brands want to include video feature in their cameras. I know that many people say, well, if you want to make videos, buy a video camera. Well, this time is over. Some people need to update their what they think. Nowadays, many people just want one camera and use it for both things, because carrying two cameras maybe is problematic for them, or buying two cameras is problematic for them, and they don't want to do video full time, just from time to time, or not always photography. Doesn't matter, okay? But this is why there are many video features. But still, I agree that would be logical, that if you buy a camera and you don't want to use the video feature, maybe to have a cheaper price, and then if you want to activate the video feature, then you pay an optional fee. Why not? That would be great, I think, okay? Let's speak about the video recording format. There is one thing that Panasonic is doing with the Lumix. It's called Open Gate. You record video on the full sensor, okay? And then you crop in post-production. This is fantastic because many people who want to have a hybrid use of their camera, they probably are content creators, and they want sometimes to have vertical take, or sometimes horizontal video. It depends, okay? Or different format, letterbox or 16:9 or whatever, okay? So it's good that you can make just one take and have different way of using what you've recorded, okay? Right now I could perfectly like frame vertical like this, but then it would not be good quality enough for the height, okay? So I think it's important that you can record like 6K or 4K, and then you sample down after, but still to have this full recording and then you crop after. So I think they all need to implement this. Second, many people are using a full frame camera for recording video, and when they record in 25 or 30p, then it uses the full sensor. But from the second they go to slow motion, like 50 or 60p, then it crops to APS-C, and that's a problem. I know technically it has some problem, overheating, all this, and camera, memory card speed, all this. this is why makers must work on that. But if I'm going to seriously record video at 30 or 25p, when I want to do slow motion, I don't want to have two different lenses to keep the same framing. I don't want to have different depth of field. It's important that nowadays 4K 60 and 50 must be in the same frame, the same use of the sensor as 25 and 30p. I think it's important. Then let's speak about the IBIS. The IBIS is the best on Olympus camera. Okay, I think Panasonic is doing great too. Many people were saying, yeah, but you cannot have a good IBIS on a larger sensor. This is really difficult. This is not true. I've been telling that for years. This is not true. And Panasonic just showed it with the Lumix S5 Mark II. The IBIS is fantastic, really that close to a Micro Four Thirds IBIS, so it is completely possible. So Canon, Sony, you must work on that, and Nikon too. Okay, you need a better IBIS if you want to offer video service. This is really important. Second, many people want to do a bit more than just a video. They want to do like some cine look or whatever, and now there are more affordable anamorphic lenses. Only Panasonic in this kind of cameras are actually supporting anamorphic D-squeeze, all this, to have your D-squeeze preview to see how it will look, all this. So I think more people like more brands like Sony or Canon that are really pushing on the market the video side of their camera, then must support a better anamorphic in a better way, and also the IBIS to be specific to anamorphic as Panasonic has done with the S5 Mark II. Now I am almost done. For Fujifilm, OM System, Panasonic, Pentax, you need to have a better presence in the world. Okay, there a continent like South America, well, America's from the bottom, Tierra del Fuego, up to Alaska. Okay, but if we speak about South America and Central America, you cannot find OM System. Fujifilm is very complicated. So I know it's really hard in Africa, same thing. In some other country in Asia, same problem. I know it's really expensive to get on a market, to get the brand to be known. But now with the internet, it's not that complicated for people to know your camera, although they cannot find it in the shop next door. So they can still buy on the internet or remotely. But what's important is the technical side of it, technical support. So I think you should have at least one technical support per continent. In South America, with the Mercosur, they can still send gear within South America without paying extra tax. So I think it's important that to create at least maybe in Mexico or I don't know, wherever, okay, or in Brazil, whatever, a technical support, same as we have in Europe, that is in Portugal for OM System. Fujifilm, I don't know where it is, okay, or Panasonic, or this. It's important to better your presence for the technical side of it. I've got many people who watch my video, they are in Chile or Argentina, and they go and buy on Olympus or Fujifilm in the United States or in Europe. But then if they have any problem, technical problem, that's a big nightmare. So I think you must work on that. Well, that's it. There would be many more things to say. This is not what is going to come out this year. Some will, maybe. Some will, maybe never. Maybe next year, maybe never, okay? But I wanted to share my idea of what could be good, okay? And as I always say, you don't have to buy the latest camera. You don't need probably the latest camera. So I'm just answering if a brand asks me, Eric, what do you think would be good this year? Because they want to make and they want to sell. Doesn't mean we have to buy, okay? But this is what I think the market could be interested in, okay? Or I would be maybe interested in, okay? That's it. I would like you to comment this in description. Tell your opinion on what you would like to have or see or what appear or whatever, okay? That's it. So, thank you so much for watching the video. If you feel it may interest other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done it yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Small button down here, so small bell. If you click on the bell, get notified when I upload a new video. My website, ericgibaud.com. If you have any question, can leave a comment below. Also, I'll leave you links of my gear on Amazon, links of everything I reviewed by K&F Concept, Sandmarc, and Flashes by Westcott, and also links to other brand affiliated links I have in case there's anything you're interested in. Please use my link, that really helps me, and also a link to my PayPal account in case you wanted to make a donation. Thank you very much. Please take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye.